Welcome back to another episode of Sports Rants with Abby and friends. Of course, I'm Abby. We got Gene. We got Guy. Before we get into the episode, because you already know this is going to be everything NFL. You already know. But Guy, Gene, how you guys doing? Gene, you can go first.
Well, we probably feel very similar right now.
Right.
As a Jet fan, it just doesn't ever really ever end. You know what? And we said it before. And we'll talk a little bit more about it, but we make it through training camp healthy. We make it relatively healthy. We make it through preseason relatively healthy. In a practice a few days before the first game where everything should be pretty much walked through anyway, we lose maybe our top offensive lineman, the anchor of our offensive line, right, because he's the veteran, to a torn tricep for the second time in his career, I believe.
Right.
And I don't know how to feel. So there's that.
I mean, we can definitely get into it here. Guy, we'll skip to you first. Hopefully you're doing better than us.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. The season starts tomorrow officially, so we've been waiting months for this moment. I'm just ready for an exciting season, and man, feels good. No injuries yet, but it's unfortunate. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery. Torn triceps are pretty bad, so prayers.
Especially for an offensive lineman, you need your arms, and
Mm-hmm. Well, Guy, in the meantime, you had your fantasy draft, didn't you?
Yeah.
And how you feeling about it?
Not bad. I mean, I'm in a 12-team league, and I had the 11th pick, so my strategy was a little bit different. But I mean, my final roster, not too bad. I had Jalen Hurts, Devon Achane, Swift from the Bears as my two running backs, Garrett Wilson and Cortland Sutton, and Bowers from Las Vegas, the Ravens defense, and the kicker from the Steelers. Forgot his freaking name, but
yeah, I forgot his name too.
But
he's a kicker. What does it matter? He's a kicker.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I had my draft literally last night, and this is like the first time I've ever played fantasy. So I was pretty excited, and mine was an auction draft.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's
weird for your first time.
No one I know plays this way, but okay, we're gonna go ahead and do it. And it's funny, the first player I drafted ever was actually Josh Allen. And then I got, let me look real quick. I got McBride was my second draft pick, and then I kind of chilled out for a little. I like it too. Right. I got Henderson from the Patriots. I got Hubbard, Sutton, JSN, Zay Flowers, Broncos defense, and I picked up Tyler Loop, who's the Arizona Wildcats kicker, but now kicker for the Ravens. And I got, who do I got? I got Benson. I did pick up Breece Hall, Gene.
I have him on. No, actually, no, I'm sorry. I don't have him in one of my leagues. I'm sorry. I almost drafted him in one of my leagues. I didn't.
Yeah. I got Rashee Rice, Pollard, Warren, CJ Stroud. And I think how you pronounce it is Tootin, the kid from.
Yeah, I love. He could be starting by the end of the season. I think he's going to diamond in the rough. I love that kid.
I'm pretty satisfied, but it was very exciting nonetheless because I was crazy. I wanted to go all after Gibbs and gone. Like, I think JJ went for the most at like $69, $71. And I mean, those guys, yeah, they're because we got 200. And so there goes pretty much a third of your money. So very interesting experience. And I'm in a 10-person league. So it was fun nonetheless, though. But before we get into all the NFL stuff, let's talk about NBA real quick because we got some news with Kawhi Leonard. Very interesting. So he received a no-work contract to basically get around NBA rules and get paid and go above the salary cap. So that's just a quick synopsis of it. Gene, what do you think about this?
I think even if it was I know it was a no-show job, even if it was a show job, it's still circumventing the salary cap for what he's supposed to be getting paid for. So they keep saying no-show job. That only makes it worse, but it really doesn't make a difference. This is actually my rant today. So I can actually do my rant now if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want the book thrown at the not just Kawhi Leonard, at the Clippers. You know what? You see players that cheat the system and cheat the league and cheat the fans, and they lose a lot of games. You know, you get caught PEDs in baseball. You lose 80 games on your first offense. That's half a season. If you're caught gambling, you're thrown out until they figure out what's going on, and you could actually be thrown out for life. This is ruining the. This is the same thing that those other things. It's cheating the game, because the salary cap is part of the rules of the game, and if you're going to do that, it needs to be severe consequences. I think at minimum, I wouldn't have a problem if it was a full season, but at minimum, I want to see half a season suspension. I want to see him fined, not just the money that he's losing in this. I want to see him fined double that. I think it's $28 million. They said he needs to be fined $56 million. I want the team to lose draft picks for the next couple of years, and I want the team to be fined. Obama's a multi-billionaire, is one of the richest owners of the sport, one of the richest owners in sports. You know what? This a $10 million thing where, like, I think the rule with tampering is $10 million, the standard. It's got to be even worse than that. I want to see $100 million. Kind of like what they did with Deflategate and all that other stuff and Spygate, where they really came down hard on the Patriots. I want to see that happen to the Clippers. I'm not a Clipper hater by any stretch. I like Ballmer for the most part. I did. I like rooting for the Clippers. Anyone that doesn't really like the Lakers, the Clippers are a good, kind of team to pick against the Lakers if you got to go for an LA team. But the anvil needs to be dropped really heavy on this, because I'm sure that, and here's the thing, is I'm sure there's other teams that have done this and are doing this currently. I know a lot of Celtics fans are saying, oh, Brunson, he took that pay cut. He's probably getting, you know what? If he is, I would say the same thing about my Knicks. I love my Knicks. And you guys know, if they were doing this, I'd have the same response for the Knicks. I want to see severe consequences, because it was a severe action. It cheats the game, and it's not right. And it's something not only needs to be done, and I know something will be done, but it needs to be severely heavy-handed, the punishment. It has to fit the crime. And you're cheating the game. So if you have a problem with people gambling in sports, if you have a problem with people taking PED in sports, this is right up there. It's cheating the game the same way those two things do, and it needs to be dealt with severely. I'm really upset about it.
And what you're missing is, I think this is the second allegation. Like this, he had something happen. He was accused of something with like his uncle, and who was operating as his manager, I think back in 2019.
I think I do remember hearing about that. You're about to hear. That sounds familiar. So, and again, if there's another team doing it, this opens the door to, like, let's investigate the rest of the league, because I want to know if it's happening, because it ruins. There's so many teams that have a hard enough time getting players. I mean, I think about all those years that the Knicks couldn't sign players because they were in cap hell for a little while, like in those bad years. I'm not saying it would have been different then. It probably wouldn't have been. They were mismanaged back then. But there are teams that really, have a hard time doing the right thing, that this can't be another obstacle. It needs to end. It needs to end fast. Or LA's a place already LA's a place that people already want to go play for. You don't need to do that. You know what I mean? What about these poor teams like Toronto that can't get a free agent for the save their lives? You know what I mean? So, like, there's teams where nobody wants to go to just because they're in, like, Siberia. And here you got a team like LA that it's a destination already. So it needs to be dealt with, and it needs to be dealt with severely.
Guy, I want to get your thoughts here. I want to know, do you agree with Gene as far as the punishment, and do you think that will actually happen?
Yeah, I totally agree with Gene, actually. Kawhi Leonard kind of has a history of stuff like this, whether his time with the Spurs, with him milking an injury, being called out on it, by Tony Parker, who had the same injury. So his integrity has been questioned before. The NBA is all about putting your best product out on the court at all times. Any cloud of, like, conspiracy or something where you're trying to get an unfair advantage, especially financially, when there's small markets out there that, to Gene's point, are having a hard time attracting free agents because their location and, the financial situation, you're already an LA team. You're a destination. You got a new arena that they built for you. You have all-stars, maybe future Hall of Famers on that roster right now. And, it is a destination. But at the same time, if you're Adam Silver, you have to come and lay the hammer down on this, because you have to set a precedent that whoever else is conducting business this way, you're going to be dealt with in the same way. You can't take it lightly. Like Gene said, if you're going to do the same thing for people who gamble, take PEDs, that's challenging the integrity of the game. And if we're going to be consistent, we have to do the same in this situation. I think the NBA has to do something, because there's going to be a groundswell of why aren't you doing something? Unless they're waiting to get all the facts and, getting their time to investigate. But if inaction is the wrong action here, you just can't sweep it under the rug. You can't be like, oh, it's the off season, we're not really going to deal with it. And, maybe if we don't say anything, it will go away, kind of thing. I think the other owners should be the ones that are holding each other accountable. Like the commissioner works for the owners in a way that he needs to maintain that level playing field where nobody's really cheating the system like that. And, it's Kawhi Leonard. His contract is bigger than a lot of other regular guys. It's not like it's a regular guy. It's a superstar. So this is a black guy, and, it happens. So Adam Silver, we're waiting on your move. The ball's in your court, bro.
And I mean, I just echo everything you guys said as well. So obviously there's probably going to be more details to come out on this, but it seems like at this point, everyone's denying everything, which is pretty typical, but they're going to deep dive a whole investigation from here on out. So we will keep you guys updated with that. Moving on, before we obviously get into our NFL talk, let's talk some college football, because there were some upsets this weekend. So, Guy, I'll start with you, because I think there's one game you kind of want to talk a little bit about. But was there one upset that was most surprising to you? And I guess let's talk about the biggest thing going around, too, is Arch Manning. So kind of what were your thoughts from what you saw this weekend?
I mean, Arch Manning had a tough draw that first game. Not everybody's going to be Ohio State, so they had to
in the horseshoe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the horseshoe. So he had one of the toughest draws that any other quarterback had, just given the environment and the team that you're going up against. So we'll take that with a grain of salt. It was game one. I want to see how he progresses throughout the season. And it's not like they got blown out, but, it's about as good as it's going to get from a team that you're going to play this year. I like what Florida State did. They just took Alabama and just beat the brakes off of them. So I enjoyed that, even though I'm not a Florida State fan. But, it's good to see Alabama come back down to earth, post Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to talk about the U, baby. The classic, U versus Notre Dame game. That was an amazing game. That was definitely, for me, the game of the week. Two great franchises, historic franchises or programs going up against each other. Miami took an early lead at home. Notre Dame came back towards the end. A lot of it just that to me, that game set the tone. It was Sunday night. I was like, man, if we have games like this year, this is gonna be very exciting. But add that to the Florida State beating Alabama. Couldn't be happier this weekend.
Gene, what did you think about some of the games, and particularly Arch Manning, simply because he's been, a lot of Jets fans already talk about having Arch Manning and drafting him and whatnot. What What do you think about some of the games?
Yeah, you know what? It's not his fault. He didn't ask to be hyped up, right? I mean, he didn't ask to be born into that family, but he is, and it is what he'll have to deal with. It's a tough place to play. It's a tough defense, right? That secondary, especially, is elite, for Ohio State. But my thing is, I felt like they didn't even play that great of a defensive. They didn't even play that great defensively. It was just two offenses just being inept. It wasn't. I didn't really think the defenses were really what caused it. I just think the offenses were both inept. I love seeing Woody in the house. Maybe maybe he can stick around for some Arjet talk later, so we can definitely disagree. I'm assuming. But yeah, so he looked like, what do you have? I think going into the fourth quarter, 40 yards. He wasn't making his reads. He was off, or he was just off kilter completely. Will it get better for him? They got some cupcakes. They got some home games coming up. So I think he can right the ship. But I also think that it's unfair that he had this hype that, that he had. I don't think he is as good as some of these other quarterbacks that aren't getting the same hype. And some of them are, don't get me wrong, but they're not getting the Arch Manning hype. Nussmeier, I think, is a better quarterback. Allard might even be a better quarterback, maybe not, but they got snaps under their belt, man. Allard played in a championship game last year, or in major bowl games last year. So I think we need to pump the brakes on it a little bit. Arch is still more accurate than Fields. Well,
I was waiting to see you address that.
I just saw it, man. I don't know if that's necessarily true. He didn't look accurate last week. You know what I'm saying? So, to be honest with you, I think you're more accurate than Arch, Woody. So, at least week one, taking that into consideration. But yeah, I think he'll be just fine. I don't think he's going to be what the media was saying he's going to be, but at least this year. But he doesn't need to be, and that's why I think a lot of people are pumping the brakes on whether or not he was coming out after the season or not. Because I don't think he'll be ready after the season. It's 1 year as a starter. Give this kid 2 years, and he might be something really special next year. But yeah, I think he'll right the ship. I think he'll have a pretty decent season when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and I just wasn't impressed with either Ohio State or Texas. You're right, Gene. Both of the offenses look bad. I think the problem with Arch is he looked just uncomfortable for the most part. He looks very out of his element, and like he was working with a whole new offense, which was kind of shocking to see for me. But I mean, they had a chance to come back at the end, made it exciting a little bit. But the LSU game, very good as well. I already knew LSU was going to win when they came out with the 1-0 shirts. I was like, it's a done deal to do that. And then I just was like, game over. And then all the other games, good slate of games this weekend, or this past weekend, I should say. Yeah. And then, of course, I'm going to shout out my Arizona Wildcats beating Hawaii. They got really badly beaten by Arizona State the last time. So
Hawaii still the football team?
Excuse me. I'm sure Noah Fafita is probably better than Justin Fields.
You guys in the Justin Fields hate, man. Justin Fields. Listen, at the end of the day, Woody, this is for you too. He's our quarterback. He's our quarterback, man.
For now.
For the next 12 years.
Okay.
12 years. Oh.
Yep. Don't worry, we'll have a backup spot for Tua in a couple of years when they finally make sense with him down there. Can I say one more thing? Can I say one thing? I'm loving the shades, bro. It shouldn't say guy, it should say fly guy right now. Loving the shades.
You're right.
What jersey do you have on?
Waddle.
I got the Waddle.
Oh, I know. That's what it was looking like. Well, you know what? Perfect transition. Well, before we get into it, like and subscribe. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. If you're new here, this is pretty much going to be a lot of AFC East talk, okay? Because we got a Dolphins fan in the house. Both me and Gene are both Jets fans. So let's go ahead and start with the AFC East. We're going to touch on some other teams. Don't worry. All of your teams will get some love, I promise. But let's go ahead and start with the AFC East. So I want to start with just record predictions for our respective teams, okay? So, Guy, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Record prediction for Miami. And if you want to tell us the losses, that'd be helpful too.
Okay. So I try to run this a couple of different times. Now, this is predicated on health. You know, Tua is the determining factor here. If he's healthy, so this record is based on that variable. If he's healthy, I think because we're kind of being overlooked here, and I think that the schedule is soft enough where we could actually make a run. And I think we could actually have 11 wins, bro.
Wow.
11-6.
That is nuts. Absolute nuts. 11 wins. So who are you losing to?
I got us losing to the Bills.
Okay.
The Commanders. The Patriots are going to beat us one game. I got us losing to the Buccaneers.
Mhm.
And who else did we lose to? I think we played the Ravens. I got that as a loss. But yeah, like there's games that could go either way.
Mhm.
But I truly think if we're based on the last couple of years and we're healthy like that, I think it's not out of the question. We've been 9-8. You know what I'm saying? Like that's 2 games, and that's if we're healthy and we win a close game or two. So it's not a stretch. We definitely have the offensive tools to do it, given everybody's healthy. Now we know that in a regular season things happen, and we've seen that Tua gets hurt at some point in the season. So that number's subject to change. But if he's healthy for a full season, I could see 11-6.
Okay. Bold take from me and Gene. Look at Gene's face in the back.
I mean, that's great to have, like, Woody says I have the Jets going 17-0.
You
Before
do?
we share our
I
thoughts
know.
on Miami, let's answer.
Oh.
Guy, we want you to answer Woody's question up here, and let's talk about McDaniel and if he
Oh.
really is on the hot seat.
Yeah, see, Mike McDaniel, I think he is okay. I think he's more suited to be an offensive coordinator. I don't know if he can command a whole locker room. He's been out coached in a lot of big games. Hopefully, this year he matures. He picks up some things where he's like, yeah, I identified, I missed that. I messed up here. Let me adapt it to, my game plan, whether it's clock management, whether it's calling the right plays, not trying to do too much. Sometimes less is more when you're trying to, win a game. I think he tries to be the smartest guy in the room too much when sometimes football is just simple, like run it up the gut, ground and pound. Sometimes he doesn't like doing that. He does a lot of it's a lot of bells and whistles and smoke and mirrors when all you need is like 2 yards. He's just very frustrating to me. And I think the fan base is very frustrated because he came in as this offensive wizard, quarterback guru. He was going to be the guy to solve Tua and all that. And it's just been a little bit of out of control, like a kid getting like a Ferrari for their first car, don't really know how to drive. And he's erratic. So and a little bit dangerous. But I do think he's on the hot seat. It's a prove it season. If he gets out to a slow start, we might see a change. Just blow it up, get some new blood. It's not working. So, I mean, I think he's okay, but I don't hate him. I just rather him be my offensive coordinator.
Moody says he low-key did solve Tua. He just can't solve QB2.
Yeah, I mean, he for the most, like, all he did was believe in Tua. it's a more of a confidence thing because Flores didn't really have that confidence that McDaniel did. You know, it's part of managing the personalities. You know, Tua's a little bit more fragile or emotional, and you know everybody's different. So he just responded to me. He responded more to Mike McDaniel. You know, the talent was still there, but it's the consistency is getting him, you know, ready for that grind for the season. So it seems like Tua sometimes walks on eggshells, and he just needs to be tough in the moments where we need him to be tough. That leader that quarterbacks are called to be.
All right, Gene, before we hear your record prediction for Miami, do you agree with Guy and McDaniel being on the hot seat right now?
Yeah, I think he is. I don't think he's there next year. I mean, obviously, if Guy is right and they're 11-6, he will be. I don't have that same confidence in him. And what he said is exactly how I felt about Saleh the last couple of years that Saleh was with the Jets. Was fantastic coordinator, just not the guy that I want to run the whole ship, right? And that's the thing too. Is it might be unfair in the sense of, well, it's not unfair because he took the job, so it is what it is. But he's definitely one of these guys that because he came from the Shanahan tree, that everyone kind of, you know, puts him up against Shanahan and say, okay, well, when are we going to see, you know, our Kyle Shanahan, right? And he's just not that guy. You know, like that happened a lot with the Belichick tree. And when are we going to see our Belichick? I mean, as Jet fans, we've seen it with Man Genius. We thought we were getting Belichick light, and it was, you know, Belichick not, you know. So I get what that's like. And again, you have a guy that I think is better suited as a coordinator, a Norv Turner of sorts, Robert Saleh of sorts. And it's unfortunate because I don't think he's got that I don't think he commands respect in the locker room. Like, he's two-player coach guy. You know, like, You got to be able to command respect at the same time, and I don't think he does that. If you look at O'Connell in Minnesota, I think he has more of an edge to him where he does command respect and he does get the respect. And that's the difference between the two, because I think they're both offensive geniuses coming out of the same place for the most part, sort of. But the one thing is O'Connell is more of he's more of a full round coach, and unfortunately that's not the case with McDaniel.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. So, Gene, that being said, Miami's record this year.
Oh, 5-12. 5-12. It's a complete implosion.
Where do you see them winning 5 games?
Well, let me get my phone. I got it written down. I'm sorry because I know I do really feel bad for our good friend Guy over there. But all right, so I got them starting off 0-4. They got a tough slate coming out. Indy on the road, which, you know, I don't think Indy's going to be great, but I think they can sneak one out at home early. Then New England, then in Buffalo, then the Jets. Their saving grace comes when they get to go to Carolina. They finally pick up a win in Carolina. Now they're 1-4. Then they go to Cleveland. They win a game in Cleveland. Then they come home. I think they sneak one against Buffalo at home. You know, I do think they'll win one against Buffalo at home. I have them beating New Orleans because I think just about everybody in the league except for 1 or 2 people will beat New Orleans this year. I have them beating Cincinnati in Week 15. I don't think Cincinnati is going to be that great this year. I have a sneaky suspicion that they're going to fall off a little bit this year. So there's your 5 wins. I have them being swept by the AFC East, except for the Bills. Actually, ironically, I think they actually still win against the Bills.
That's crazy.
I think that's a little crazy too, because I still have them going 7-10, which I'm not sure is any better to guys.
Wait, what? I will shave my head if they go 0-4 against that. I'll tell you what.
Their schedule is not that tough coming out the gate, bro.
Patriots are going to be tough this year. The Bills are going to be tough this year. The Jets are going to be good this year. Indianapolis is the only question mark game, and I just think that at home, Indianapolis, they're going to ride high early, like with Daniel Jones. They're going to sneak everyone to thinking Daniel Jones could be this quarterback, and then in week 2 it falls off. But I have them going 1-4, man.
I have them losing to Indy too, but I have them 2-2.
Who do they beat? New England and the Jets?
I do have them beating the Jets on Monday Night Football because the Jets are terrible on Monday Night Football.
Oh, we
not
used
that
to
much
be.
better.
They're terrible. They're like 2-8 or something like that.
Do you remember the Monday Night
couple of
Miracle? I don't know
years.
if you're old enough to remember the Monday Night Miracle, but I do remember the Monday Night Miracle.
I remember that.
Yeah, I also remember the Fail Mary from last year. Okay.
Well, that was
Holiday.
that was your friend Rogers. So thank God he's not here anymore.
Well, I'm not sure because I'm not just a little tidbit. I have the Jets losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers week 1. So I'm sorry, Gene.
Rogers wins the grudge match.
All right. So I have 7-10 for Miami. Guy has 11-6, and Gene has 5-12. Where do you think Miami's finishing in the AFC East?
I got him going second.
Okay.
I have the Bills winning that division.
Do you have the Bills winning the division, Gene?
Yeah, I have Bills winning the division. I have them finishing like I think 12-5 or 13-4.
I have them 13-4. Okay.
Let me double check. Are we going to talk about the Bills next, or is it?
No, let's go to the Jets and get it out the way.
Let's get it over
then
with.
We're gonna go ahead and we'll do Patriots and Bills. Again, this will be a lot of AFC East, but I promise we're gonna have some other tidbits in there. Dolphins 7-10. Woody and I are on the same page.
Well,
that's the anti-Gene page. All right, let's go to the New York Jets. Guy, we're gonna start with you again.
Okay.
Jets record prediction.
All right. I got the Jets going 6-11. I got them going one game better than last year.
Okay. Where are they getting 6 wins?
Well, New Orleans.
Did you say one against Miami and New Orleans?
No, I gotta get New Orleans, Cleveland. Not against the. Let me see. Against the Cowboys. I think they're going to beat the Cowboys that game.
Mm-hmm.
The Panthers and the Jaguars. And
Okay.
I think, that's about it. They might split against the Dolphins, but it's going to be 6 wins. I know Glenn is getting a lot of parallels to our friend out there in Detroit, but if we know his first year in Detroit wasn't that great, I'm thinking year 1's gonna be a lot of growing pains. You might see a big jump in wins next year, but like this year they have so much stuff to work out, and that's like clearing out all the negative. Is that you might lose games in the process of growing, but as long as you play hard, that's what I'm looking for. Is how are they showing up in these games? They could lose a lot of close games, but that's taking a step in the right direction. I just don't see a vast improvement, given that they're going to be running the ball a lot, playing conservative. You're going to have everything go right if you're playing that style. And that's the only thing I say about that they're going to have to open the playbook at some point, and you're going to have to be a little more explosive on offense. Can't really be, a one-trick pony and run, and then, what are you going to do when you're losing? What are you going to do on obvious passing situations? It just, to me, sometimes it might be easy to defend in those situations. So unless they have a lead, in a lot of games they might not be having a big lead like that, it's going to be hard to sustain, with that style of play. But I think they could be a competitive 6-11.
Where do you think they finish in the division?
I actually have them last in the division.
Okay. I don't know why I even asked. All right. So Guy has Jets going 6-11, finishing 4th in the division. All right. Gene, we're going to go week by week since we're both fans. So I might just go a little easier. Okay. So drop your record prediction first. What is it?
I got 9-8. Not saying we're making the playoffs. I'm not saying we're making the playoffs, but I think we go 9-8.
All right. And a lot of people have been asking me my record prediction, and I have not ever said it. And I have us going finally 7-10. Okay. So week 1 against the Steelers, Gene. Win or loss?
Well, that's a win.
That's a loss.
And a convincing win. And a convincing win. We're going to win good.
I think we need to win that game.
We're going to win bigly on Sunday.
We need to win that game. That Steelers defense scares me. They do. All right.
Here's Fields, too.
True. All right. So, Buffalo, week 2.
I got that as a loss.
I have that as a win because it's at home and we play Buffalo tough. Besides last year,
we're at home against the Steelers who have a 55-year-old quarterback.
Yeah. Also, did you read a statistic that 51% of that audience is supposed to be the Steelers? That is insane. If that actually happens,
thank you.
That's crazy.
I was about to bring that up too. Thank you.
I don't know how to even respond to that.
Oh, but we can play the Steelers tough, but we can't play the Bills tough and win. We split with them.
Yeah, no.
Last year we split with them. We're always, and even the first loss last year, we were still competitive. We lost by what, 3?
Yeah. Yeah, listen, you're 100% right. We played the Bills tough the last few years. I'm not
okay.
Doing that.
All right. Okay, let's move on. Tampa.
That's the game. That'll be my first season ticket holder Bucks game.
Oh, exciting.
Got my son coming down from New York. We're gonna go see it with certified Rob from the Rookies of the Year on Monday mornings, so Monday afternoons.
Woody's comment.
Where is it?
There you go.
Maybe it's
you should have left it up there.
Well, I should wear it across my forehead. I got us losing to the Bucks on the road. I think the Bucks are going to be special this year. I don't know if we're going to go.
I do
Super Bowl.
too. Okay.
I think the Bucks will be tough this year, so I have us losing on the road to Tampa. So I have us at 1-2 at this point.
Okay, and we're 1 and we've only won 1. We're 1-2. All right.
Yeah.
Miami, Monday Night Football.
I got us winning on the road in Monday night, just because I think the Dolphins I think the Dolphins are going to have a really bad year this year. I think it's not so much even the talent. I think you're going to see an implosion of this team where they're going to play worse than they really are. I think they are a talented team. I just think that I think the wheels fall off for Miami this year.
I have us losing that game because we're not great on Monday night. We're 2-8 in the last 10 Monday Night Football games.
Well, you can always change that.
And we're on the road. And
Johnny Boy, I disagree. Logic is dope.
Huh?
I disagree with Johnny Boy on that. I do like the logic.
All right. Move on. Week 5. Dallas.
Winning against the Cowboys. That's a dub.
Okay. London game against the Broncos.
That's a loss. So I have us at 3-3 at this point.
All right. Panthers. Week 7.
That's a win.
Okay.
4-3. Wait, where are you at this point?
I am 1, 2, 3, and 5.
Okay, and I'm 4-4. All right, so we're not that far off.
All right.
Oh wait, no, you're talking about the Bengals, the Cincy game. You have them winning or losing the Cincy game?
Losing.
Okay, I have them losing too. So I have them 4-4. You have them at 3-5. Okay.
Yeah, and then we're into the bye week. Okay.
Into the bye week, coming out of the bye, home against Cleveland.
Yes. What do you have that as?
That I have as a win.
People will hate me for this. We are terrible coming out of the bye week. I actually have that game as a loss.
I do feel like this could be a sneaky loss for us. I have it as a win, but this team, we don't really know what the Browns are going to be from this point until week 9, the second half of the season. We could have a totally different quarterback. They could catch fire because of the spark of Shedeur Sanders playing. Who knows? So, but as currently constituted, I have them beating the Browns. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns change and catch a spark second half of the season and go on a little bit of a run. Not good enough to do anything crazy with, but that could change some of their losses into wins. So right now, I do have the Jets winning that one. I have them at 5-4.
Okay, that actually makes me feel better because people have been thinking that I'm insane for having that game as a loss, and I just out of the bye week, it's been perfectly terrible, or it's been terrible. Hi, Harrison, how are you? Harrison, we both have us winning against the Panthers. He's a Panthers fan, so both have us a dub. All right. New England at New England, Thursday Night Football.
I have that as a loss.
Okay. Same at Ravens.
That's a loss.
All right.
I have us at 5-6 right now, so I have us losing a losing record at this point.
Okay. Falcons.
That's a win. At home, I think the Falcons will be good this year, but I think the Jets are going to be good this year. So I have the Jets winning that one at home. If that would have been a game where if it would have been in Atlanta, I probably would have took Atlanta. Mm-hmm. But it's because it's in MetLife, I'm taking the Jets.
I have that game as a loss, but I do see your point. I can go back and forth with that game, but I have it as a loss. Okay. Miami at home.
That's going to be what, November-ish, mid-November?
That's actually December 7th. Perfect winter time.
Oh, Dolphins never win. Dolphins never win when it's a little bit breezy. They don't like the cold. That's a Jet win. We're 7-6 at this point. We got a winning record. All right. Back.
Jags.
Jaguars on the road. That's a loss.
I have us winning that game, but a lot of people have that game as a loss. Okay. Saints.
7-7. Oh, that's a win. Like I said, the Saints are going to be putrid this year. 8-7. All right.
New England at home.
That's going to be a big win. That's going to have us believing we're going to go 10-7 and beat the Bills on the road and go into the playoffs. But so I have us winning that game and going 9-7 at that point. But I'll flash forward. I do think we lose to the Bills. But go ahead. What was your Patriots record? Patriots deal.
I have us winning that game, and I have us losing to Buffalo, but it'll depend where Buffalo sits at that point in time.
I have a feeling this is going to be a loss regardless.
Okay. And I do
because I do think seeding is going to play a factor at the end of the season. You got a lot of good teams in this AFC. I think that seeding will play a factor between Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City. I really do think that the seeding is going to be important, and I just feel like the Jets are equal to the Saints. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Not guy in the corner. I mean, Guy Harrison out of here. Yeah. Stay with me, my man. Stay with me. So I have this losing almost in the sense of like where it could be a winning you're in kind of situation, but we're not quite ready to make the playoffs just yet. So that's a loss. And we come back next year even more fierce. But anyway, I do have a
where do you have us where do you have us in the division?
Second or third, so depending on how New England does. I think New England also, we'll get to New England in a minute, but I think that's going to be a second and third, depending on New England.
So where do you have where do you have Miami?
Last 5-12.
Okay.
Again, I think Miami's record is better than 5-12. Okay. I'm not looking at their roster at saying it's a 5-12 roster. I'm trying to move the chess pieces as where it says, okay, this could happen. I think that will happen. I think this will happen. I'm trying to look ahead to some of the stuff the same way I did with the Browns game, where I think it could be a win or a loss. I think there's going to be a lot of problems in Miami this year that's going to cause a coaching change and some big changes by next year. I think that's what I just think it's time that Miami is going to unravel, and that's the only reason why I think they go 5-12. Not that their roster dictates that.
You know what, Guy? I wish Gene had this many thoughts as he does about Miami about Justin Fields, but
yeah,
I think Justin Fields. Listen, he's gonna have some bumps. He's gonna have some bumps and bruises this year. But I think by the end of the year, we say, you know what? This is our quarterback going forward. I do think again, I've said it before. He's playing with the best roster he's ever played with.
That's not saying much. He hasn't.
It's not. It's not. But he had a winning record for the first couple of months in Pittsburgh last year until they pulled him. I think he can win some games, man. I think he's going to be good. Having him in the backfield with Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, Isaiah Davis. There's a lot to like, man. There's a lot to like, and I get it. I'm out of my tree. I'm in my yeah.
All right.
Very well could have been, but either way he had it. Either way he had that record, Woody. I mean, you can't it wasn't just T.J. Watt, man. Like he had to be the quarterback there. I think he's gonna be good.
I shouldn't have gotten it riled up, guy, about Justin Fields.
No, but I mean, the defense made it a lot easier for him last year. It's not like,
you know what, but that's in any situation. Defense should make it a lot easier for your quarterback.
yeah.
You know, Kansas City's defense was a lot better the last couple of years. Should we take anything away from Mahomes?
We could, because he wasn't that good last year.
Fair.
All right, so I have the Jets. Okay, guys got the Jets 6-11, finishing last. Gene 9-8, Jets finishing second or third. I have the Jets going 7-10. The problem is I have them tied with Miami, and looking at the tiebreaker, it would look like Miami would go second if I'm doing it right. So I still have the Jets second or third, but let's really quickly.
Wait, okay, one thing too. Let me just add this one little piece. 7-10 is still a good season from where they're coming from.
I never said it wasn't.
No, I know you're not. What I'm trying to say is 7-10. Woody's just hating right now. Come on, he's doing that to get me. He's doing that to get me riled up.
Look at him. He's doing a perfectly great job.
I wish Woody was on the show right now. Woody, hop in. You got the links to hop in. The codes, hop in. You're more than welcome to pop in, man, and say hello. And
yeah, 7-10 for me is not bad. I'm happy with the 7-10.
It's still an improvement. What we will actually 5-12, right? So
yeah. All right. Speaking of, let's finish up with the Jets really quickly before we move on to New England. We'll probably bypass Buffalo because we all have Buffalo winning the division. But real quickly with Buffalo, what do you have their record at, Gene and Guy?
Buffalo, I have at 12-5.
Yeah, I got 12-5 also.
And I have 13-4. So, okay.
They got a pretty tough schedule. I have them starting up 5-0.
I got them losing that first game. I think the Ravens get them that first game.
I think they beat them at home. They're in Buffalo. I think they win that game in Buffalo.
I have them winning, starting out 10-0.
Holy cow!
Yeah, I know.
You have them beating. That's they got.
I have them
over that span. They have the Ravens.
I have them losing. I have them losing to the Jets. Remember, week 2.
So that's their. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that's their first. They're the only loss in that run.
Yeah, and then they'll.
So you have them at 9-1.
Pittsburgh and Philly.
They got. So you got them losing 2 in a row at one point. See, I got them losing. I got them losing those 3 games as well. I got them losing to Atlanta in Atlanta.
Okay.
So I got them. Yeah, so I got them 5-0, beating the Ravens. They got that cupcake of New Orleans right in there. That's gonna be a tough game against New England. But I got them losing to Atlanta, and then they go to Carolina. That's obviously a win. I think they beat Kansas City at home. I think they lose to Tampa. Oh no, I'm sorry. I think they beat Tampa. I have them beating Tampa. But then losing to Houston and Pittsburgh as well, and then losing to Philly.
All right. Okay. Really quickly, let's go back to let's move off from the Jets, but I want to talk about something really quickly. Let's talk about the injury news we got today. The New York Jets are just so unfortunate. And unfortunately, it looks like ABT tore his triceps yet again. Looks like he's going to be out for this season. So, Gene, I mean, you went on a whole rant earlier. So, I mean, I guess I can go.
I don't have a rant about it.
Yeah. Well, it's just super unfortunate. Like, this is a year I was trying to get paid. And when he is healthy, he is great out there. And unfortunately, the worst of luck. And now it's like 3 injuries in a row. Achilles, triceps again. And I don't see, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets let him walk, or he's going to have to take a significantly less amount of money, unfortunately, which is just very disheartening because, again, he's a good player on the field when healthy. I think he's great off the field as well.
He's great in the locker room.
Yeah, he's a leader. And he's the one who moved several positions with the offensive line last year and what in shambles it was. So, but it looks like right now, from my understanding, that Tippmann's moving over.
Yep.
And I guess that makes me feel slightly better, but it makes me also feel unfortunate for Tippmann because I think Tippmann at center could be all pro eventually.
Yeah, me
but
too.
you know, right now it's just for the betterment of the team. So, Guy and Gene, I'm gonna pose this question to you really quickly. This injury, how negatively do you think it affects the Jets moving into, of course, week 1 and the rest of the season?
So when I first heard it, the sky was falling, right? And and I believe the same thing as you, Abs. I think that Tippmann could really be a fantastic, I think he could be an all-pro center. And that's the shame of it is I thought AVT when healthy, this could have been his second year in a row healthy. I thought he could have been eligible to be an all-pro guard. But then I remembered that Myers is a hell of a center in his own right. That's the only reason why they're yeah. I'm about to say. So Woody's got it. Woody's saying Myers might be a better snapper than Tippmann. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly the reason why they made this change, right? Is because Myers is just better suited at center than Tippmann is suited at guard or whatever. You get what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I think it's I wasn't so nervous when I really kind of played out the depth chart. I said, oh wait, you know what? Myers was somebody that was actually as good as I think Tippmann could be. Myers was actually in a competition with him in camp. That's how much they think of Myers. Myers, I was actually surprised they even brought Myers in, but thank God they did because this is the reason why I think that they brought him is for this exact situation. So I'm actually not as concerned as I would have been otherwise. I think Tippmann will be fine at guard. He played guard before us at times. He was fine. I think Myers will fit in fine at center. And I think we'll be okay. Now, will we be as good as Tippmann at center, AVT at guard? No. But I don't think we lost that much of what – because this was finally for the first time in a long time going to be strength of this team. One of the strengths of this team is the offensive line. I don't think we lost that much than that we had already. So I'm actually not as concerned as I was when it first went down.
And Guy, what are your thoughts on it really quickly?
I think it's actually a bigger loss than you think because if they are to improve, one of the things that needed to be a sure thing was that offensive line with the question marks with Justin Fields and how that offense is going to be. You're going to need that running game big time and a cohesive, chemistry-driven offensive line is paramount. I don't think it's the end of the world at the same token, but I think it's a pretty big loss for the reasons why you said. Like he's a big guy, leader in the clubhouse. It's hard to replicate that, but next man up, you guys are going to have to fill in the gaps and somebody else is going to have to take that leadership role that he would have in the locker room, unless he's going to be there, in street clothes for most of the season. But, still a little bit different when you're in uniform and you're out there playing. But I think it hurts the development of the offense and the rhythm of the offense just a little bit.
I mean, I definitely agree. I don't think the Jets are going to be any more in shambles than they were before. You know what I mean? This season is already going to be growing pains, and that's simply because the biggest question mark I think on this team is Justin Fields. You know what I mean? But I still think he's in good shape. He's still in a good position to be able to hopefully pass the ball and get the ball to Garrett Wilson, because I'm hoping he has over 1,000 yards this year. So, all right. Gene, do you have something to say real quick? We cannot hear you. Or is it just me?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Right. But what do you get to this is I'm not trying to discount the chemistry because I think AVT is huge. The one thing this might help, and you kind of touched on it before, is he might have to take less money, so we might be able to keep him relatively cheap, and still be able to keep him and not have to pay this exorbitant amount that we were going to have to pay him before, because we might get another year of him on the cheap because of this. because no one's going to pay him an absorbent amount after 3 injuries in 5 years. No one's paying him a crazy amount. So we might be able to kind of sneak in a lighter contract to get and then maybe push that contract, the big contract, off a year or so. So if anything, it might help us in that sense. But I say us. I'm talking about the Jets, obviously.
Obviously. All right. Let's move on to New England really quickly. The team I hate the most in this division. So Patriots record. Gene.
9-8.
What?
I'm at 9-8.
Guy.
Yeah, I actually have them at 9-8 as well.
What do you have as apps?
6-11.
You have them that bad?
Yes. I absolutely do.
Hey, it could happen.
I have them actually out to a really good start the first half of the season, and then kind of not so great the second half. I have them 6-2 the first 8 weeks.
Going on a 4-game losing streak to end the year.
I have them losing 3 of 4 to end the year.
Yeah. I mean, but I feel like the rest are like, I mean, sure, there's probably going to be a couple of games that I think are going to be toss-ups, maybe the Browns game, you know what I mean? But no, 6-11.
Yeah, I got them 9-8. I got them 9-8, but I got them starting the season.
You really think Drake Maye is going to really, in his second year, elevate this team just above and beyond?
No, 9-8 is not above and beyond. 9-8.
Where they were last year, yes, it is. Oh my God, Bodie. Now we're okay, Bodie.
Yeah, you know what? I think 9-8 isn't great. I don't know if they even make the playoffs, but I do think I like the stuff in place that they got going on there. I think Vrabel is amazing. Would you agree on that? But again, I have the later part of the season kind of getting away from them. I have them starting out 6-2. And then from 9 on, I have them finishing like 3-6. So I got them with losses to Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Atlanta, Tampa, Cincinnati, Buffalo, Baltimore, Jets. And there you go.
I mean, it's fairly similar. I actually have them going on the road and losing to Las Vegas. I mean, to start off with an L. I just think the traveling, and I don't know. I
think they're home against Vegas, no?
I don't know, but either way, I love what the Raiders are cooking up. They could be at home or they could be away. Doesn't matter. I
don't know. I have a bad feeling about the Raiders, man.
I do not. So
I got the Raiders. Let me see. I'll tell you where I got the Raiders.
The ones I see, we have, like, you have them losing to the Bucks, you have them losing to Cincy, Bills, Baltimore, Jets. Like, some of them are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
You just have them winning 3 more.
Yeah.
I told you, there's a couple of games like the Browns. I could see them beating Atlanta. Maybe it's just because I'm a hater. That's one area of bias.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I get it. I'm a hater too. So.
All right. Well, let's shift a little bit out of the AFC East, and let's talk about just really briefly a team that made the playoffs last year that you don't think will make the playoffs this year. Guy, you want to go first?
Yeah, so a team that did not or made the playoffs and will not make it this year. Oof. It's tough to say, but if I'm going to say one team, it's got to be the Vikings.
I'm with you there. That was the first team that came to mind.
Yeah. I just think they take a step or two back.
Mm-hmm.
And that division's tough.
Yeah.
So,
and then you don't know what's going to happen with McCarthy.
Yeah.
I know a guy who drafted McCarthy and then JJ. And so I'm really interested to see how that's going to work there. Gene, did you have a different team?
It's actually, so I had 2 teams and I settled on the Vikings. Okay. I hate for us to all agree. The team I really wanted it to be, so let's start there, was Pittsburgh. I really wanted it to be Pittsburgh, but as I went down their schedule, I got them winning a bunch of games, and they'll make the playoffs. I got them finishing in second in their division, so I got them in the playoffs. I think the Chargers could take a slight step back.
Same.
Whether or not they still make it in or not, I'm not sure. But I do think the Vikings. Listen, and that division's just gonna be tough. You already got Detroit. That's a wrecking crew. The Green Bay just got better. They just added Micah Parsons. They're gonna be better. The Bears should be a little better. There's other teams in that conference that are going to be better. I think the Falcons could be a little better. I think the 49ers are going to be better than they were last year. So there's teams that are just going to be better in their conference besides the fact. I just think that this is a year that they take a step back a little bit. I think, JJ, whether he's good or not, is not going to be great year one for him, and this is year one for him. So I got them missing the playoffs this year.
All right. Well, one thing we all agreed on, but Lamar says the Steelers, Harrison says the Bucks, and Woody's got the commies as a hot take. Everything Woody says is a hot take.
Well, Bucks are winning that division. There's no way they lose the South. And maybe I'm saying that because now I'm a Bucks fan, and I'm just enamored by being able to actually root for a team that might win. And I haven't had that since 15 years. But yeah, I think the Bucks are going to be really good this year. I think they're going to be better than what last year. And they won the division last year.
All right. Now, on the contrary, a team that missed the playoffs last year that will make the playoffs this year. Gene, we're going to have you go first.
Ooh.
Do you have a couple teams?
Yeah, it's. I think New England could really sneak into the playoffs. I know before I said I was not, they're a team that I think could sneak into the playoffs is New England. I think New England's going to take a lot of teams by surprise. I know that they'll just squeak in. Also, I know everybody is hating. Niners could very well too, although I don't think they'll be quite as good as we think. They'll be better than they were last year. So I kind of agree with that. Harris, Carolina. You're a Panthers fan, so I get why you're saying that. You're probably smoking the same stuff I smoke for the Jets. Mine is green, and yours is light blue. That's the only difference. But I do really I think the Falcons. All right, so Falcons could make I think the Falcons could make the playoffs, and I do think who did I say before? The Patriots can make the playoffs.
All right, then. Guy?
Usually, I think 4 teams on average are, teams that didn't make it the previous year make the playoffs the next year. So I got 4. It's the 49ers, the Falcons, and in the AFC, I got the Bengals and the Dolphins making the playoffs. I just think that those teams just have the schedule. Everything has to play out right. So that's the caveat, right? I think the Bengals have the talent just to win shootouts and squeak into the playoffs. If they do that, it's not like the Steelers are world beaters. Like I could see the Bengals getting second place and getting a wild card spot. But not to say that the Steelers won't make the playoffs, but a healthy Joe Burrow and that offense, I give him a puncher's chance to make the playoffs.
That's a bad defense, though.
It is, but you got to score points in this league, and that's something that they can do. Other teams have a hard time. It's not like previous years where it's like, and this is just making the playoffs. It's not, winning the Super Bowl. But
I do want to say one thing, and because I lost my train of thought before. I know a lot of people are going to think are going, especially because of what happened this past week. A lot of people are going to kill me for it. And they think it's crazy, and I'm not saying it's set in stone. It's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas has a decent year this year. I wouldn't be surprised
either.
And sneaks into the playoffs. That offense is way better than past offense. They have some running backs there now. They have an offensive line that is now improved. They added another receiver to that core. They had a good tight end with Ferguson. That defense. My thing is, we've talked about it on Pop-Off before, so I assume if Woody's still here, he's probably going to agree. He might even agree with me on this. Although I think it was Caleb that actually was one of the ones that also thought this point is Parsons could be one of the best defensive players in the league, but he needs to have a significant counterpart on the other side of that defensive line. If he's the only guy, it's not going to work. And right now on that other side of the line, they didn't really have someone that could match him. Now, Green Bay does, but I don't think he would have been as effective in Dallas this year otherwise. He'll have a better year in Green Bay just because of the teammates around him. I think that the Dallas secondary is pretty good. I think Dallas could actually sneak into the playoffs this year. I think they could really surprise a lot of people.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to mention a team that no one's mentioned yet. I think the Arizona Cardinals could be a little sneaky this year. I think they can. I think San Fran has improved. Don't think they've done it enough. And I think
Agreed.
Seattle got a good D, but I think Sam Darnold's a little bit of a question mark. I'm going to see how that goes. And I do think the Rams, they can be competitive with the Rams. They're used to facing them every year. So I'm going to say the Arizona Cardinals. I am going the Cardinals home opener. So.
Oh, yeah? Who are they playing again?
The Panthers. So I get to see Tet McMillan. I'm very excited for that.
Oh, is that where you're going? Or is it to see the...
It was a gift from my guy. And then, you know what? He just pointed out, we went to the Suns home opener. We went to the Diamondbacks home opener. So it just makes sense. You got to go the Cardinals home opener.
There you go. Trifecta.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think the Diamondbacks didn't win. The Suns won their home opener. So the Diamondbacks spoiled it for us.
I tend to agree somewhat with Woody, although he didn't have a great year last year. I think he had a down year. So they didn't get a scrub back for him. They got a decent player. If he's the same player that played 2 or 3 years ago, if it's the same guy if they get the Kenny Clark of last year, that's not as great.
Okay, Woody, like you're freaking ridiculous, bro.
Listen, they really could.
They could.
Okay, like I said, it was a little bit of a hot take.
Let me check.
When Woody gives a hot take, no one bats an eye. When I give a hot take, whoop.
All right, so I can give you. I have them going 6-11.
No.
No.
I don't think so. No.
I got Seattle going 7-10. I got the Niners going 12-5, and I got the Rams going 12-5. I think the Rams are gonna be really good this year.
Yeah.
I like the Rams this year.
They got the best coach and quarterback combo. And
I think Chicago is improved, but I don't think their record will show it. I think they're going to have one of the worst records in the league. Now, I think they're an improved team, but I think it's what's going to end up happening is I think they're going to hit a mark where they just kind of go on a run of losing a tremendous amount of games. I think Ben Johnson is way in over his head, and I think he's going to be extremely I think he's an extremely overrated coach. I don't think he's the guy. I think he's going to be another guy like we talk about how he was an offensive coordinator, not a head coach. So I got Chicago having I don't want to say how bad, but I have it as one of the worst records in the league. But I think they're a better team than that. And I think Romo Dunze's a beast. They got DJ Moore. I think they're a solid team. I just don't think that they're going to be solid second half of the season.
It's competitive out there.
Yeah, and plus, that's murderer's row. I mean, you got 3 teams in that division that could really, do a lot of damage. They could win. They could be division winners in mostly any other division. Even think about it. If Minnesota was in a different conference, in a different division, they'd be that much better. So they're just in a tough division.
How many wins did you say the Cardinals had? Or we're going to have?
I'm at 6 and 11. That's not bad. It's pretty good for the
So
Cardinals.
the Jets are going to be better than them, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
The logic.
They're also in a tougher division.
I know they are. I'm very aware that they are. But
So,
all right. Well, let's just really quickly wrap this up. Let's talk about tomorrow really quick. Eagles, Cowboys. Is it Eagles, Cowboys?
it's Eagles Cowboys.
I tend to stay in my own division. I'm worried just about Steelers. That's the only thing I care about going.
I hear you, man.
So, and whoever the Arizona Wildcats are playing, which is Weber State, I believe. So, all right.
That's a cupcake right there.
I know. Hey, Big 12 looks pretty good this year. I'm not going to lie for football. TCU put the beat down on UNC the other night. Bill Belichick was welcome to NCAA.
Yikes.
Yeah, and the SEC, had a little bit of a rough go of it compared to what people I think normally expect. So
just really quickly, who do we think comes out on top tomorrow? I'll be watching the game regardless.
I think it's easily the Eagles.
Eagles.
Yeah. I don't know about easily. I don't think it'll be a blowout by any stretch. I think it'll be like maybe a touchdown, Harrison says 28-17. That's not a bad score. I could see it being like a 31-24 game.
This could have been like the Browns against the Jets, and I would still be thoroughly excited. That's why you said it wasn't a bad score. I'm like, I could watch a 13-12 game right now. I'm assuming Woody has CD Lamb on fantasy.
That's what it sounds like.
I don't have any stake in tomorrow's game, so I can just enjoy it. I don't think I do.
I got Jalen Hurts. I need him to go off.
I think Devontae Smith on one of my leagues.
Anyways, well, we'll go ahead and get out of here. Obviously, that was covered everything NFL. And like I said last week, we made it. We made it through the toughest part. And now things are about to get a little feisty. And now everything's documented, time-stamped.
That's right.
So don't be mad, Gene, if I be showing some receipts later on.
Don't be mad if I show some receipts. I can't wait to show Woody receipts.
Well, we appreciate you guys joining us. Obviously, like, subscribe. You already know the deal. Follow us on Instagram, and we appreciate it. But I'm going to end the thing with, I'm going to say go Jets. Guy?
Hey, it's Fins for life. Fins up. It's going to be
Gene,
Fins
you
for the
want to close
win.
us out?
Yeah, you know what? I want to say one thing is baseball is going to be really interesting the next couple of weeks. And maybe we'll talk a little baseball next week. Yankees are going through a slaughter mill of the next 4 series, but if they can win these series, they can pretty much lock up the AL East and really set a tone going into the playoffs and hopefully back to the World Series, which a lot of people, even myself, thought would have been a fairy tale. But these next 4 series that they have, again, it's murderer's row. But if they can come out on top, which it seems like the first 2 games against Houston, they were up 3-0 earlier with Will Warren on the mound, pitching a shutout going into the 5th. So I just say this. I say that to say this. Go Yankees. Woody says go Mets. Woody is a Mets fan. He's probably a Soto guy too.
Let's go Mets, baby.
Yeah, listen, I spent a lot less to get Belly, and I'm happier for it because he's better at a lot of different things. Enjoy the baseball with your football. The next few weeks should be a lot of fun, and hopefully we get to talk some baseball next week.
Fun for who?
Well, I'm
for
sorry.
You two?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Uriel tore his ACL the other night. Yeah, we're thrilled over here. Phoenix is thriving.
And you might be looking at Martell's last games as a Diamondback too. I'm sorry to say.
Tough.
All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. Tune in every Wednesday, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Later.